Far above the blue world called Earth, a silent message was traveling across the stars. No alarms sounded, no weapons fired, no fleets moved. But every advanced civilization in the galaxy received the same signal. A warning. Humanity is holding back. Most alien leaders laughed when they heard it. Inside the great Galactic Council hall, dozens of different species gathered to discuss the strange message from Earth. The hall was enormous, a massive structure floating in deep space where leaders of powerful empires met to make decisions for the galaxy. Towering insect-like rulers, glowing energy beings, armored reptilian warlords, and elegant tall aliens all watched the large central display where the human message was repeating again and again. Humanity is holding back. One tall reptilian commander leaned back in his seat and made a deep rumbling laugh. He said humans have been part of the galactic community for 200 cycles, and they have never won a major war. Another alien with pale blue skin nodded slowly and said humans prefer trade and diplomacy. They talk about peace and cooperation. They do not behave like a warrior species. Several other leaders agreed. To them, humans were predictable, emotional, and weak. A species that avoided conflict whenever possible. Finally, the council moderator spoke. He asked if the human ambassador had arrived. A small door at the far end of the chamber opened. A single human walked into the massive hall. He looked small compared to many of the towering alien leaders around him, but his steps were calm and steady. His name was Ambassador Daniel Hale. He stopped in the center of the chamber and looked around slowly at the gathered leaders. Dozens of alien eyes focused on him, some curious, some amused, some openly hostile. The reptilian commander spoke first. His voice echoed across the chamber. He said, "Human ambassador, explain this strange message your world has sent across the galaxy." Daniel remained calm. He folded his hands behind his back and spoke in a clear, steady voice. Earth sent that message as a warning. Several alien leaders laughed. One of them said, "A warning from humans." The reptilian commander leaned forward slightly and asked, "What exactly are humans warning us about?" Daniel looked directly at him. He said, "Humanity values peace more than most species. We prefer building instead of destroying. We prefer cooperation instead of conquest. For hundreds of years, humanity has chosen restraint." The word echoed through the chamber. Restraint. One of the insect-like leaders tilted its head and said, "Restraint from what?" Daniel answered quietly, "From showing the full extent of our strength." This time the entire chamber filled with laughter. Some aliens whispered to each other in amusement. Others openly mocked the idea. The blue-skinned diplomat spoke with a smile. He said, "If humanity has such hidden strength, then why have you never used it?" Daniel did not react to the laughter. He simply replied, "Because we hoped we would never need to." The reptilian commander shook his head slowly. He said, "Humans are dreamers. You speak about peace, but the galaxy does not run on hope, it runs on power." Daniel nodded slightly. He said, "We understand that. That is why we are here today." The chamber grew quieter for a moment. Daniel continued speaking. "Humanity has watched the expansion of several empires near our borders. We have seen fleets growing larger and weapons becoming stronger. We have heard discussions inside this council about testing human defenses." A few alien leaders shifted in their seats. The human ambassador continued. "Earth only asks for one thing. Do not force humanity to stop holding back." The silence lasted only a few seconds. Then the reptilian commander laughed again, even louder than before. He said, "Is that a threat, human?" Daniel answered calmly, "No, it is a warning." The reptilian commander stood up towering above the others. He said, "The galaxy is full of species who believe they were stronger than they truly were. Perhaps humans need a reminder of their place." Many alien leaders nodded in agreement. Far from the council chamber, deep inside the outer edges of human space, a small monitoring station detected something unusual. Strange signals moving through hyperspace. The station commander, a young human officer, watched the sensors carefully. More signals appeared, then more, and more. His eyes widened. These were not trade ships. These were war fleets. multiple alien armadas moving toward human territory. The officer quickly sent the information to Earth. On the blue planet far below, the clouds of Earth military command centers came alive with activity. Admirals gathered around massive holographic displays. Dozens of red markers appeared across the star map. Alien fleets approaching human space. The room remained quiet. No one panicked. The highest-ranking admiral, a gray-haired woman named Elena Morales, studied the map carefully. Then she gave a simple order. Activate the reserve fleets. Deep beneath oceans, hidden inside moons, and concealed within asteroid belts, ancient doors slowly opened. Massive human warships began to wake from long silence. Engines powered up. Weapons systems came online. Thousands of ships prepared for launch. Back inside the Galactic Council chamber, the reptilian commander was still speaking. He said, perhaps it is time the galaxy reminds humanity that peace only exists because stronger empires allow it. Daniel listened quietly. Then he received a small signal on the device in his pocket. He glanced down for only a moment. The message had arrived from Earth. Operation Restraint has ended. Daniel looked back at the alien leaders around him. His voice remained calm, but his words carried a quiet weight that none of them noticed. Earth warned the galaxy. Humanity was holding back, but not anymore. The message from Earth spread across human space like a silent storm. Operation Restraint has ended. Inside the deep command chamber beneath the surface of Earth, Admiral Elena Morales stood before a massive holographic star map. Dozens of red lights blinked across the map, showing the alien fleets moving toward human territory. They were not small attack groups. They were full war armadas. Several powerful empires had joined together. They believed humanity would fall quickly. Around the admiral, dozens of officers watched the map in silence. No one spoke. No one panicked. Because every person in that room knew something the rest of the galaxy did not. Humanity had been preparing for this moment for a very long time. The admiral finally spoke. Her voice was calm and steady. Begin Phase 1. Far from Earth, hidden inside the dark side of the moon, enormous hangar doors slowly opened. Ancient shipyards that had been silent for decades suddenly came alive. Massive warships began to rise from their resting platforms. Their hulls were dark and smooth like shadows in space. Glowing energy lines slowly lit across their surfaces. These ships were far larger than the trade vessels and patrol ships the galaxy had seen before. They were built for one purpose: war. Thousands of workers and automated machines moved quickly as engines powered up. Deep inside the ship's advanced combat systems awakened from long sleep. Artificial intelligence cores began calculating battle strategies. The human fleet was waking up. Far away near the outer border of human space, the first alien armada continued its advance. The fleet belonged to the Reptilian Empire, one of the strongest military powers in the galaxy. Hundreds of sharp armored warships moved together in perfect formation. Their commander, a tall, battle-hardened warlord named Croth, watched the starfield from the command bridge. He felt confident. Humanity had never fought a large-scale war before. Their defenses would collapse quickly. His officers were already discussing how human worlds will be divided after victory. Then, one of the sensor officers suddenly leaned forward. His voice carried confusion. He said, Commander, long-range scanners are detecting energy spikes across multiple nearby systems. Croth frowned. Energy spikes. He walked toward the sensor display. On the screen, small signals began appearing one by one. Then the numbers started growing. 10 signals. 50. 100. His eyes narrowed. These were ships, but they had not appeared through normal hyperspace travel. It was as if they had been hiding there the entire time. One of the officers whispered quietly. These signals were not detected before. Croth felt a strange feeling rising in his chest. Uncertainty. The sensor officer continued speaking. Commander, more signals are appearing. Hundreds now. The bridge slowly grew quiet. Then suddenly the entire screen filled with new markers. Thousands. The alien officers stared in disbelief. The signals were surrounding their fleet. Then the darkness of space suddenly moved. One by one, enormous human warships emerged from behind asteroids, from hidden stations, from deep shadow zones where sensors rarely scanned. They'd been waiting there silently, watching. The human ships were massive, far larger than expected. Their designs were sleek and powerful, unlike anything the alien fleet had faced before. Blue and orange energy lights glowed across their armored surfaces. The reptilian commander felt the cold weight of realization. This was not a defensive fleet. This was a trap. Back on Earth, Admiral Morales watched the same moment unfold on her command display. The alien fleet had entered the exact zone predicted by human strategy. She gave another quiet order. Activate forward battle groups. Across space, hundreds of human ships moved forward together. Their engines burned with bright energy trails. The alien fleet tried to change formation, but it was already too late. They had flown directly into the center of the hidden human defense network. On the alien flagship, Croth growled with anger. He shouted orders to his fleet. Prepare weapons, target human ships. But something strange happened. The human ships did not attack immediately. Instead, a transmission appeared on every alien screen. A single message. The reptilian commander stared at it. It was a human voice, calm and steady. You were warned. For a moment, the alien bridge fell silent. Then Croth shouted, Fire! Hundreds of alien weapons blasted toward the nearest human ships. Bright beams and missiles crossed the darkness of space. The explosions lit the battlefield. But when the light faded, the human ships were still there, their shields barely flickering. The alien officers looked at each other in shock. Their strongest weapons had done almost nothing. Then the human fleet finally moved. Massive cannons rotated slowly across the hulls of the warships. Glowing energy gathered at their tips. The first volley fired. Space exploded with light. Entire alien ships vanished instantly as the human weapons struck. Armor melted. Shields collapsed. Dozens of alien vessels were destroyed in seconds. The reptilian commander stared at the battlefield in disbelief. This was impossible. Humanity was not supposed to have this level of power. More human ships arrived from hyperspace. Thousands now surrounding the alien fleet completely. Croth finally understood the terrible truth. Humanity had never been weak. They had simply been hiding their strength. Far away inside the Galactic Council chamber, the alien leaders were still discussing the future of human territory. Many were confident the invasion fleets would soon report victory. Then a communication officer suddenly rushed into the chamber. His voice filled with panic. He shouted that the invasion fleets were under attack. Massive human war fleets had appeared from nowhere. Battle recordings began appearing on the central screen. The alien leaders watched in horror as their powerful armadas were destroyed one after another. Entire fleets disappearing in moments. The reptilian commander Croth sent one final desperate message before his flagship was destroyed. The message reached the council only seconds later. His final words echoed through the silent chamber. Humans were never weak. They were waiting. And now they have stopped holding back. The destruction of the reptilian fleet spread across the galaxy faster than light. Every major empire received the same battle recording. Thousands of alien warships entering human territory with confidence, and then disappearing in waves of blinding light. The recordings showed something the galaxy had never seen before. Human fleets moving with terrifying coordination. Their weapons striking with impossible precision. Entire alien armadas collapsing in minutes. Inside the great Galactic Council hall, the atmosphere had completely changed. The same leaders who once laughed at the human warning now sat in silence. Many of them stared at the central screen where the battle recording continued to replay. Alien ships exploding one after another. Human warships moving like dark giants through the battlefield. The reptilian commander final message still echoed in their minds. Humans were waiting. One tall insect-like leader slowly spoke. This cannot be real. The blue-skinned diplomat who once mocked humanity now looked pale. He whispered that fleet represented one of the strongest armadas in the galaxy. Yet it was destroyed in minutes. Another council member spoke quietly. If that was only one human fleet, how many more are there? No one answered. Far away near the ruins of the destroyed alien fleet, human warships floated silently among the drifting debris. Massive ships with glowing energy lines slowly moved through the battlefield, scanning the area. Human rescue teams searched for survivors. Even after the attack, humanity was still following its own rules. No unnecessary cruelty. No pointless destruction. On the command bridge of the largest human flagship, Admiral Elena Morales stood calmly watching the battlefield. Around her, officers studied incoming reports. The alien fleet had been completely destroyed. Human losses were almost zero. One officer turned toward the admiral. He asked quietly, "Should we pursue the remaining enemy fleets?" Morales looked at the star map. Multiple alien armadas were still moving toward human space from different directions. They had not yet learned the fate of the First Fleet. The admiral thought for a moment. Then she gave a simple order. Send them the message. Within seconds, a transmission spread across the nearby star systems. The signal reached every approaching alien fleet. The message was short. Earth warned the galaxy. Humanity was holding back. Then another line appeared. Turn back now. For several long minutes, nothing happened. Inside one of the approaching alien fleets, a nervous commander watched the transmission again and again. He had already received fragments of battle data from the destroyed reptilian armada. The images were terrifying. Ships vanishing in seconds. Weapons far stronger than anything the galaxy had known. His officers waited for his decision. Finally, he ordered the fleet to stop. Many alien commanders made the same choice. Several fleets slowly turned away from human territory. Fear had replaced their earlier confidence. But not every empire chose retreat. One powerful empire, known as the Iron Dominion, refused to believe the reports. Their leaders believed the battle recording was exaggerated, or perhaps a trap. The Dominion fleet continued moving toward human space. Their commander, a ruthless warlord named Varnek, believed overwhelming force would crush humanity. His armada was enormous. Thousands of heavily armored ships, more than double the size of the reptilian fleet. Inside his flagship, Varnek stood before the star map. He laughed when the human warning message appeared on his screen. Humans threaten us with fear, he said. We will show them the power of the Dominion. His fleet pushed forward deeper into human territory. Back on the human flagship, Admiral Morales watched the approaching Dominion armada. She knew this battle would be different. This enemy was larger, more aggressive, and far more stubborn. But humanity had prepared for this possibility as well. The admiral spoke quietly. Activate the gate network. Far across human space, ancient structures hidden in deep space began to glow. Massive circular machines older than most alien civilizations. Structures the galaxy had never detected. The human gate network. Within moments, bright energy tunnels opened between distant star systems. Human fleets from faraway battle groups instantly began moving through the gates. Thousands more warships arriving near the approaching Dominion fleet. When the alien sensors finally detected the growing number of human ships, it was already too late. The Dominion fleet had entered the center of a massive human trap. The starfield around them suddenly filled with dark shapes. Human warships appearing from every direction. Varnek stared at the sensor display. The numbers kept rising. 5,000, 10,000, 20,000. His officers looked at him with growing fear. One of them whispered, "Commander, this is not possible." Varnek slowly understood the truth. Humanity had built a war machine far beyond anything the galaxy imagined. The human fleet began to move. Not in chaos, not in panic, but with calm, perfect coordination. Then a final transmission appeared on every Dominion screen. A human voice, calm and steady. You ignored the warning. Space suddenly erupted in light as the human fleet fired. And the second great battle of human space began. Far away in the Galactic Council hall, the alien leaders watched the incoming battle reports with growing terror. Because the galaxy was finally realizing something they had refused to believe before. Humans had never needed to prove their strength. They simply chose not to show it. Until now, the battle between the Dominion Armada and the human fleets spread across the darkness of space like a storm of fire. Thousands of ships moved through the black void, their engines burning bright as weapons charged with terrifying energy. The Dominion fleet had entered the trap, but their commander Varnak refused to show fear. Inside his massive flagship, he stared at the endless number of human ships appearing around his fleet. His officers waited for orders, their eyes fixed on the glowing battle map. The numbers were unbelievable. Human warships surrounded them from every direction. Yet Varnak still believed victory was possible. He believed strength and aggression would break the human lines. He raised his hand and gave the order. All ships advance. The Dominion fleet moved forward like a wall of iron. Thousands of heavy warships pushed directly toward the human formation. Their weapons fired together, sending waves of plasma and missiles across the battlefield. Space lit up with explosions. But the human fleet did not panic. They did not rush. They moved slowly and carefully like hunters who already knew the outcome. On the bridge of the human flagship, Admiral Elena Morales watched the battlefield with calm focus. Around her, officers tracked every movement of the enemy fleet. The Dominion ships were powerful and heavily armored, but their strategy was simple. Overwhelm the enemy with brute force. The Admiral spoke quietly. Open the corridor. Across the human formation, several groups of warships suddenly moved aside, creating a narrow path through their lines. The Dominion commander saw the opening immediately. He smiled. He believed the humans were retreating. He ordered his fastest ships to push through the gap and break the human fleet in half. Hundreds of Dominion ships rushed forward into the corridor. For a brief moment, it seemed like the human line had been broken. Then the trap closed. Human warships moved back into position, sealing the corridor behind the Dominion ships. Suddenly, the alien vessels found themselves surrounded on all sides. Their sensors filled with warning signals. Human weapons charging. Varnak realized too late what had happened. The human fleet had allowed part of his armada to enter the center of their formation. The Admiral gave the next order. Fire. Hundreds of human warships released a devastating storm of energy. Bright beams of light cut through space. Massive explosions filled the corridor. Dominion ships vanished one after another, their armor unable to survive the overwhelming power of the human weapons. The trapped alien fleet was destroyed in seconds. The rest of the Dominion Armada watched in horror as the explosions spread across the battlefield. Fear finally reached the bridge of Varnak flagship. His officers began speaking, quickly reporting massive losses. Entire squadrons gone. Defensive systems failing. Enemy numbers increasing. For the first time, the Dominion commander felt doubt. He looked at the human fleet surrounding them. These ships were not just stronger. They were smarter. Their movements were controlled and precise, as if every step of the battle had already been planned long before the first shot was fired. Another human transmission appeared across the Dominion communication network. The same calm human voice spoke again. Earth warned the galaxy. Humanity was holding back. The message paused for a moment. Then the final words appeared. This is the last warning. Retreat. Varnak clenched his hands in anger. His empire had never retreated from any battle. To run now would mean humiliation. Yet the battlefield told a different story. More human fleets were arriving through glowing gates across space, their numbers growing larger every minute. The Dominion fleet was being slowly surrounded. One of his officers whispered quietly, "Commander, if we stay, we will lose everything." Varnak looked at the burning wreckage of his destroyed ships floating across the battlefield. He understood the truth. Humanity was not fighting with desperation. They were fighting with restraint. Even now, they were holding back. because if they truly unleashed everything, the Dominion fleet would already be gone. Varnek finally gave the order. Retreat. The Dominion armada began turning away from human space, their ships fleeing toward the distant stars. The human fleet did not chase them. Instead, they simply watched as the enemy escaped. On the human flagship, Admiral Morales slowly nodded. The message had been delivered. Far away across the galaxy, the Galactic Council received the final battle recordings. They watched the Dominion fleet retreat in fear, something that had never happened before. The council chamber was silent. Every leader understood the truth now. Humanity had not won through luck. They had won through preparation, patience, and overwhelming hidden strength. The same species that once asked for peace had proven they were the most powerful force in the galaxy. A final transmission from Earth appeared on every galactic network. The message was simple. Earth never wanted war. Humanity chose peace. But peace was never weakness. And now the galaxy finally understood the warning humanity had given long ago. Humans were holding back, and the stars themselves were lucky that they had stopped when they did.